Recently I was at the OBI DIY store to order boards for the 5th module of my wardrobe, which I plan to build. Usually I buy in Castorama, but I have closer to OBI, and this is bad weather in Poland. Unfortunately the wait time is 2 weeks, but I hope to have it ready by Christmas. Of course I had to pay in advance because they do not start cutting the boards without a fee. I think this is good, so there is no chance they will start cutting boards and someone will not pick up or pay. So I have a receipt showing square meters multiplied by the price per square meter. The square meters correspond to the individual groups on the Q report type because in this case I printed that report for the shop. I have not bought the hinges yet, but I will do that when I pick up the boards, but I also decided to check if the price calculations using my woodworking workbench are correct. So I have added the ability to add additional columns such as weight and price to the Q and G reports, as well as to the newly created M report type, which describes the material a bit better than the G report type. As you can see, the prices match the receipt. The calculated number of cuts is 21, and each cut costs 3.49 zloty, which translates to over 73 zloty, with the total cost of the boards being 180 zloty. This may seem expensive, but on the other hand you do not need to have a table saw and transport entire 2-meter long boards, and then cutting them yourself with 1 mm precision. In the case of my module, the back panel will be made of 3 mm HDF boards, and the rest of the panel will be made of standard 18 mm white chipboard. In this case I could create a G report type to reflect the different types of materials. However, in this case I would have to organize the individual cabinet components in the link group containers slightly differently for the G report type to work and group all material types correctly. Therefore I decided to add a new M report type which allows to keep current container structure and also allows for a more precise description of the materials. The report has 3 options for displaying material information. The easiest way to create M report type with material description is to use the Magic Settings tool. There is a new wood description field that allows you to add a description in any language, which will be displayed as the default for each board in the M report type. This approach allows you to quickly add a material to all boards, including old projects. The default value is the name of the cheapest and most popular chipboard in Poland. The data is saved in the user preferences, so you do not have to change anything after restarting FreeCAD or opening a new file. Since this cabinet uses HDF backboards, you should use the option to individually set the material for several boards. This can be done in two ways. The first way is to add a material description to the Label to Object variable, description. It is best to set the description view in the object tree and then change it in the description column directly in the object tree. Or show hidden object attributes and change the Label to value. This way, when you generate a Type M report, you will receive the correct description of the material used. The new M report type also supports the new version of materials in FreeCAD. I have the Woods add-on installed, which has an extended range of wood descriptions. However, it does not include boards used in Poland such as typical chipboard or hardwood plywood or HDF or MDF boards. Nowadays, furniture is not usually made from real wood, as real wood furniture requires skill and a carpentry place, and such furniture is very expensive and impractical. Real wood furniture is more decorative than functional because improperly preserved or stored in inappropriate conditions, it will crack or swell from moisture. Furthermore, when making real wood furniture, you will likely never achieve exact dimensions, and the dimensions are usually approximate, obtained through sanding. To add a material, simply select the object and use the editor. The added material will also be transferred to the copied object along with its color. This also applies to the material description with the Label to attribute. The Set Textures tool now allows you to load textures and material attributes. I have the Woods add-on installed, which has an extended database of wood materials and textures. After adding a material to an object, simply load the textures with the tool and the textures for the appropriate material will appear. This also works after changing the material. I also added Eye of Ra and Eye of Horus tools. These are two separate tools that allow you to show and hide the container structure. I did not really have an idea for an icon and name related to carpentry, so I accidentally came up with the Eye of Ra and Horus. Personally, I really like stories about Egyptian gods, and the Eye of Ra fits perfectly here because the god Ra saw everything what fits here perfectly for showing the entire object tree structure. The power of the god Horus was limited, so in a sense it is the opposite of the god Ra. For slightly larger projects with nested container structures, this functionality is definitely useful.